Yeah, obviously I clearly need, much deeper, longer sessions with you, but what do I do? What does our audience do?
Yeah, what does our quote unquote audience do? Welcome, new people. You should know that we are never prepared. We are always wearing sweats. We're never wearing makeup.
I would almost consider myself the MC of this podcast. I am the narrator.
So welcome. We hope you enjoy this.
Okay, today's guest I'm obsessed with. Dr. Shefali is the sort of pioneer in conscious parenting. That is not gentle parenting. It is its own special thing. She uses cuss words. She speaks and gives it to you in a real way. I love her so much. She talks about how pretty much the most important thing you can do as a parent is be authentic and be present and be yourself, and don't be fake and don't be performative. And she really opened our eyes to a lot of things, and I think I'm going to personally pay her to be Sarah's therapist because she's amazing. She is a 3-time New York Times best-selling author. Oprah called her the best child expert she's ever interviewed. This is a fantastic interview. You're welcome.
What city are you in?
In New York right now.
You're working
nice.
late.
This is late for you.
This is late.
Yeah, but I see clients all over the world. So sometimes I get up early, sometimes I'm up late. So this is fine. I know that you guys have kids and you had issues with, possibly issues with childcare. So if you need to run or anything,
Yeah. My nanny's in Poland right now with her son.
Goodness.
And I have a 1-year-old, and 6 to 7 p.m. This is going to be interesting. But we're going to get through it because we're here with a parenting expert.
We're not only here with a parenting expert, we are here with the person that Oprah called the best parenting expert she's ever come across. Or what were her exact words, Erin?
Ever interviewed, I believe.
Ever.
Yes. Aw.
There you go.
Well, we're very excited. I mean, listen, Sarah and I are both parents, and we're really, this is, it's got to be very interesting for you because you've been doing this for a long time. You've written 3 New York Times best-selling books. You pioneered this conscious parenting thing. And then now, I open my phone and I mean, there's a parenting expert on every single window that I look at. And I don't even know if they're an expert, but I'm taking their advice. I'm watching things going, oh, well, that seems easy. That seems easy. And I'm trying to write it all down or memorize it. And it's very overwhelming. I'm a new mom. So, I am constantly absorbing everything, thinking that I can pull it off. And sometimes, which I'm sure you've seen happen, first-time parents kind of in that new blissful period, I have a lot of lofty ideas of what I'm going to be able to do as a parent. I had a nurse coming over and giving me an IV a few days ago, and my daughter was not sleeping. We just got back from Europe, so she's jet lagged. She wasn't sleeping, and I was like, I have to go in there and calm her down. So I walked with the IV still in my arm, into her room. And the nurse was like, do you have some TV you could put on for her? And I was like, oh, we don't watch TV. She doesn't watch TV. And she goes, oh, first time mom. She's like, call me with your third. You'll be putting her in front of the TV. And I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. But I'm still in that phase where I have a lot of an idealistic view of how I can pull this thing off,
Well, I think that is the beauty of a first-time parent, the naivety and the purity of our sanctimonious ideals. And I think hold on to them. I think you're right. I mean, I think part of it is truly your own instinct and your awareness that the current era is toxic for our children. So this latest, burst of technology, this increased reliance on media, and it is too much. And so you're right. Your instinct is right. But the world being the way it is, it's difficult to pull it off, as you said. And so you're going to try your best and then show yourself compassion and grace when you don't and you fall for what everyone else falls for. And you keep correcting, don't set the highest purest standards because then you'll just be hard on yourself, be realistic. But I think you're right. Your intuition is right that your child doesn't need a TV to calm down. She doesn't.
No.
I don't even know where to begin really, because there's so many different avenues I want to go down. I obviously want to talk about how as parents we put our own shit on our kids. I want to talk about teenagers and their devices and all of that. So but I guess I would love to just first start where you say, because I think this will be really interesting for a lot of women. We have a lot of young female listeners who are not parents yet, who are considering, I'm sure, being parents one day, but are not yet. You say parenting is natural, quote unquote, is a myth. And I think that that's so true. I'm like the biggest believer, and I do not believe parenting is for everyone. I really don't. So tell us a little bit about this.
So, yeah, parenting is not for everyone. First, just biologically, not everyone is wired to be a mother. Some are wired to be aunties and, sisters, and that's good enough. And we don't have to put the pressure to have children and not feel like we're lesser than or any less of a woman to not have them or desire them. But I think the myth I was talking about is that it should come to us naturally, that it should just flow from our veins and our blood should just, circulate with the instinct. And then when we have that pressure on us that it should be natural, we shame ourselves when it doesn't feel natural, when it feels clunky and clumsy and awkward and onerous and you don't even like it. And then you really beat yourself. But more than that, when you think it should be natural, you kind of place yourself on a pedestal and then don't humble yourself to learn and to cultivate the skills to actually develop what it takes to be an attuned and conscious parent. You think you're above the fray and it's your child, you know best, and then you don't kind of put yourself in the role of the student. And we are students of every relationship, of every human that comes into our lives, especially so our children. So, we don't have to, demean ourselves, but we also don't have to exalt ourselves. We just have to humble ourselves that we don't know what we don't know. We've never met this being before. And just the other day I was telling a mother, you love your children, but you don't have to like them, especially when they're adults. It's okay, they're adults. They're like other human beings. You may not be a match. You may be oil and water. That's okay, but you love them and you will always be their mother. But because she was being hard on herself, that her son was grading on her. Like she was like, oh my God, it was like chalk on a board. And she was shaming herself for having thoughts that, I don't like hanging out with him. And I said, that's okay. He's an adult. You're an adult. It's okay. You can free yourself.
That's so honest. That is so. I assume that he's like he's a grown man.
He's a totally grown person, and she was shaming herself and guilting herself and mutating herself to have to like him. And I said, no, he cannot be your person. Your children don't have to be your tribe.
That's amazing.
Really?
So hold on. So do you sort of I would imagine that just every person, in your position would sort of take the position of, well, let's fix it. Let's get you to a place where you do want it. But you're kind of like, no, everyone's not for everyone.
Including your children, your parents, the one day your lover,
Wow.
your partner. I mean, it's the ultimate acceptance of reality that everyone is not for everyone. And guess what? You may not be for your children. Your child may find a better motherly figure in your sister or in your mother and not in you. And it's not about your ego. It's about the reality that everyone's essence is not for everyone, right? It's you find your tribe, and your children have to find their own tribe when they grow older, and you can't have your ego caught up in it. What if your husband's mother is a better mother to your child, or your first child, but you're a better mother to your third child? This is why we had a tribe, so that we could find our people. You didn't have to like your mother. You could like your auntie or your friend's mother. That's the beauty of a tribe, and we're missing that in these nuclear isolated families where it has to be just this one person who is your ride or die. And I think that's very dysfunctional and unhealthy.
I feel so lucky that my kids really do get something very different from their aunts, from their grandmother on both
Yes.
sides, and then
Yes.
they get things from Erin that they don't
Yes.
get from me, but we're so blessed because we have that. A lot of people obviously, do not have that. And listen, our kids are suffering, and a lot of our kids are suffering because us as adults are shitty parents and shitty people, and we haven't done the work. I mean, all of my daughter's friends who are the mean girls, the not nice girls, their moms are usually always the mean girl, always like the asshole. Do you know what I'm saying? Like there's a real kids aren't born to be assholes. Kids don't just become assholes because, do you know what I mean? They become assholes.
You
I
guys,
agree
but what
with
I'm
you.
hearing you saying is that
Yes.
we're putting too much pressure on ourselves, that you have to be all things to your people. And we don't choose our mother or our father or our aunties or our children. And there's no guarantee that you're going to be each other's soulmate. There's no guarantee you're going to be a perfect fit. I mean, we all know people who are like, I can't connect with this kid, or my mom drives me fucking insane. And it's like we try to force these relationships. And that's a perspective I haven't really heard before, which is like, stop trying so hard. If it's not working, it's not working. I mean,
But we have to clarify. She's talking about adult children. When you have younger
Yeah,
kids
yeah.
or teen kids, I have a 14-year-old who, believe me, every
yeah,
day
you're not
I
cutting
feel
out
like
your 9-year-old.
no, I feel like telling my 14-year-old, you're on your own, honey. She's like,
Yeah,
but yeah.
and this is not about not being there for your children, and this is actually not forcing an enmeshment and an inauthentic closeness. It doesn't define love. Love doesn't mean you have to be enmeshed and up each other's grill all the time. It doesn't mean that your child has to call you and you are the supreme God in their life. Your child is allowed to not like you, and still you'll are very connected. What I'm just saying is that there's a benevolent acceptance of our differences, and without trying to make everybody fit into this one image of a happy family. In fact, it's very functional to teach your children that I can't be everything for you. So find your people, find the different kinds of mothers in your life, and hopefully we as mothers can create community with our sisters and our friends. And
Well, I have to give Sarah a lot of credit that, her daughters and I have a really special relationship, and her younger daughter, Josie, has been spending more and more time over at my house. And, they've been going through certain things in Sarah's relationship at home. And then they come over to my house, they experience a totally different kind of family. And when Josie has like really felt this, like, oh, I really love being around two parents today, and like being around this different type of family. And this makes me feel really connected, but also sad about this other thing. Sarah has been very understanding and loving. Like, I'm so happy Josie has that with you. She doesn't, you don't get jealous. You don't say like, well, I wish it was with me. You're like, thank God she
No.
has that, because when we were kids and we were going through divorce and all this, we didn't have those people. We didn't have like family members we could really open up to. I remember opening up to like a nanny or something, of saying like, I hate my stepmom. I like confided her in that. And then she went and told my stepmom that I said I hated her. And I'll never forget being cornered as like a 6-year-old. Like, did you say you hate me? I mean, like, oh my God, the one person I opened up to betrayed me. And that lonely feeling of going through something and not having like trusted people around you, having it is such a blessing.
But even just that example, right? Like we all, loathe, or we're terrified of the day our child says, I hate you. But if we understand that that expression means that they don't feel seen by the adults. So when you said, I hate my stepmother, if your stepmother was really wise and conscious, she would understand that, wow, this girl doesn't feel seen. This girl hates how she feels around me. So what am I doing? Or what could I do more to see this child more? But when our ego gets wrapped up, and that's what is the premise of all my work, is when our ego gets wrapped up because we are not yet whole within ourselves, then we project onto the other this lack, and then we want to fix them, right? Instead of fixing what's deeply disconnected within ourselves. And of course,
that's way too deep of anything that our stepmother could have understood. That I'll tell you that.
exactly.
I mean, I wish she had, but I would say that was not the case.
But it's funny that you brought up ego.
Yes.
Because when it comes to my kids with Erin and stuff, I have an ego in every aspect of my life, but as a parent, it's the one area I really don't have an ego. I know that I am not capable of exposing them to all the things I want them to be exposed to. I want them exposed to all of it, and I'm not capable of providing that for them. So I'm so grateful for anyone that can come into their life and offer a different perspective or a different comfort zone or a different way of life. Like I want to expose her to all the religions, to all the people, to all the things, and that's what's best for them. So it's the only area that I really don't have an ego, because it's good for me if they're a well-rounded human being, right?
Absolutely. People always ask me, how do I help my child be resilient and, full of grit? And I always say the best preparation is exposure, right? So, if you want them to be a tolerant person when they grow up or an anti-racist, they have to be exposed to all kinds of races and all kinds of cultures. So, we say one thing from one side of our mouth, right? I want them to grow up to be really tolerant people, but then we only show them one kind of religion or one kind of way of life. They're not going to be exposed. So exposure is the best practice. And when you make them practice enough, so teenagers, for example, if we shelter our teenagers too much, if we protect them too much, and we give them curfews and we're like, we really keep them in this container, they're not practicing because they're not exposed to enough life and risk. So the risk needs to be in your house, under your watch, which is counterintuitive, and not when they're out in college all alone without you. The risks they should be taking are right in front of you, because that's in that way they expose and then they get practice. And then by the time they're 19, they're already been there, done that. And now they're ready to settle into their sovereignty. But if you shelter them and then expect them to just do it later, they're not going to be able to do it because they haven't been exposed and they don't have enough practice.
Makes a lot of sense.
I don't know about you, Erin, because you really hang out with more people with really young kids, but I am super hyper aware of this extreme on both sides. I know parents who, and I feel terrible saying this, but literally I take it as they just don't give a fuck. I mean, they are so checked out. The nannies do everything. Here's the credit card. It's like, and it's, you sit back and you watch, and it's like very hard not to judge, obviously. And a lot of these kids are confused and grabbing onto other ideology because they're just desperate to be seen. They're desperate to be part of something, right? And then I have other friends who are like just wrap their children in bubble wrap. And then you sit back and you watch and you go, okay, you're not really preparing them for life. Like, it's hard, right? We don't want to judge other parents, but it's like hard not to, right? I mean, it's kind of hard not to have a judgment on what you're witnessing around. And it's like, I don't know, I feel that I'm just going on and on and on, but I'm really on a hot one today because it's funny. I just experienced something that I'm not going to talk about here on the pod, but that's why I'm like, ah.
But the two faces of those parents you just talked about look like two different extremes, but they're really the same thing. Oh. They both are disconnected. They both are. They just use different strategies. It's alcohol or food. They both emerge from a deep disconnection. So the one that's hovering and super coddling, she looks at least like she's caring. But she's just taking care of her own anxiety by overfixing. And the other one who is disconnected is also taking care of her anxiety through checking out. They both are managing deep anxiety, disconnected, and projecting it onto their children. This is the greatest thing. It's all projection. And we don't realize we are creating these realities, right?
You guys, this is mind-blowing. Can we just let this hit for 1 second?
Yeah.
This is really mind-blowing what you're saying, because I would imagine that most women listening right now who are the coddlers, who are the ones that, do everything, give you no life skills because they're ordering your food and, there's never a worry, right? It's like you don't ever have to problem solve. You don't develop the tools to know how to do that when you have a parent or parents who are just, don't want to what's that, Erin? The benefits of a skin knee or whatever was the book. Yeah.
No, blessings of a skinny.
Yeah, exactly. Who just the parents who never want to see 1 second of your suffering. But really, it's all about them.
Okay, it's very easy for me to talk to you about good wipes. I just the other day ran out of all of our good wipes, and I said I am very excited to order more because every single bathroom in our apartment is stocked with them. I'm obsessed with them. They are not baby wipes. They are adult wipes, okay? If you are an adult and you go to the bathroom, which I imagine you are both of those things, you should not just be using toilet paper. That is gross. Think about Europeans. They use a bidet. They cleanse with water. You need to be using wipes. Good wipes are my favorite addition to our bathroom. Okay, first of all, they smell amazing. They're not only just empowering, but they also smell very fresh and clean. They have these fantastic scents. They have shea cocoa. They have rose water, botanical bliss. They're infused with soothing botanicals. They've got aloe, vitamin E. They've got chamomile. They're 40% bigger and stronger than regular wipes. They do not tear. I can confidently tell you that they do not tear, but they are still flushable. And you know that I'm very obsessed with chemicals. They are free from any harsh chemicals. There's no parabens. There's no dyes. They're totally safe. They're gentle for your skin. And I just love them. They're actually flushable because they're plant-made fibers is what they're made from. So I just cannot recommend them enough. Every adult needs to have these in their bathroom. I also travel with them. Don't be dirty. Don't be disgusting. Use good wipes. So it's time to upgrade your restroom ritual with good wipes. Treat your tush to the clean, refreshed experience that it deserves. Go grab yourself some good wipes at Target, Walmart, Kroger, or most local grocery stores. Just head to the toilet paper aisle and look for the bright aqua, rose, and emerald packs or skip the trip and add them to your Amazon cart today. Good wipes, because butts deserve better. Protein is trending. We are all now aware how important it is to have more protein than we ever thought we needed in our diet. And it's honestly hard to figure out how to get more protein into our diet without constantly eating like a steak all day, which nobody wants to do. So Clean Simple Eats Clear Protein is basically on-the-go protein. It's so much easier and more refreshing. For me personally, the best way to get protein in is in either like a smoothie or a drink because I'm not going to eat like fistfuls of meat all day long. And so they have this amazing canned protein drink. I've never had another canned protein drink. You can basically just put it in your bag. You can have it during, after your workout, when you're running errands. I just kind of drink them while I'm at home working on my computer as a way to get my protein in. Their protein is always third-party tested. It is non-GMO. It is gluten-free. There's never any artificial ingredients. The clear protein is grass-fed whey protein isolate. That's ultra filtered. Makes it super low in lactose. It's really easy to digest. And it's literally a canned beverage that tastes delicious. It's basically like having a healthy soda. So they just launched their first of its kind product. It's a refreshing, light, bubbly, perfect for your busy days beverage that has 20 grams of protein. Okay. It's got these delicious flavors and it's like you're just drinking a flavored bubbly water, but you're getting your protein in. It's pretty amazing. Anyway, Clean Simple Eats is also a female founded and female owned brand, which you know that we love and we support. And it's all clean and it tastes delicious. And so we can't recommend it more. Visit cleansimpleeats.com and use the code FOSTER20 at checkout for 20% off your first order. That's cleansimpleeats.com. The code is FOSTER20 for 20% off your first order.
Okay. Element, guys. I had one this morning. I was feeling kind of low energy. My skin didn't look great. I was just like, I need my element. I need a boost of hydration. Element is just, it's helping everybody stay hydrated without the sugar or the dodgy ingredients that you are going to find in a lot of the other electrolyte drinks. This is key, you guys. You do not want to have sugar when you are trying to hydrate. That really defeats the purpose. So, Element is formulated for anyone on a mission to restore health through hydration. It is perfectly suited for athletes, people who are fasting, people following keto, low carb, whole food, or paleo diets. I think a lot of the times also, if you know you're going to go out for a night of drinking, no judgment on that. Before you go out, have an element. hydrate before you drink. I would also say hydrate before you have caffeine. You will really notice a difference if you are starting hydrating before you know that you're about to dehydrate yourself. I could keep going, but we've been talking to you guys about Element for a long, long time. And it's because we use it. Our friends use it. You come to our house, we have packets on display. We now have the drinks in our fridge. It's just going to become part of your routine. You'll be very happy. So try Element totally risk-free. If you do not like it, they will refund your order, no questions asked. Right now, Element is offering a free sample pack with any purchase. That is 8 single-serving packets free with any Element order. This is a great way to try all of the 8 flavors or share Element with one of your friends. So get yours at drinkelement.com/foster. That deal is only available through our link. You must go to drinklmnt.com/foster.
So this book is my latest book. It's called The Parenting Map. If I know it's in this book lays out everything that we're talking about now, but mainly we don't realize that most of us have never learned to soothe our inner anxiety. So our parents were so hyper anxious or hyper, whatever they were, that they didn't teach us to regulate. And because we're not regulated from within, we have these inner children that are out of control. And we've created ego masks to handle these inner children. And the 5 ego masks that I talk about in this book are the fighter, the fixer. So that over coddling helicopter parent is a fixer. She's just trying to fix her own anxiety though. Then we have the feigner, which is the fake parent that just like wants to post everything is amazing on social media, but really doesn't give a damn. She just cares about the image. And the last 2 are the freezers and the fleers. And many men are freezers and fighters. Many women are fixers and fighters. And so the one that is completely checked out, they're just fleeing from a traumatized inner self, but unaware of it. So the ego masks that we operate from are our survival to really take care of these dysregulated inner children that are panicking. And we're completely unconscious. So conscious parenting, what I teach, is really looking at your patterns and the loops that you get stuck in, and deconstructing the masks that you wear and figuring out your pattern without shame or blame or guilt, and then entering the real truth of your terrified little girl or little boy, and now learning to reparent that, right? So that's the essence of what I've been teaching for the last 20 years. And now it's become more in the mainstream and people are talking about it. But when I first pioneered conscious parenting, people weren't looking at the parent in this way. The parent was provoked. In fact, parents used to get pissed off with me. How dare you tell me how to raise my children? There's nothing wrong with me. Parents were so upset if I called them to their ego. But now it's become, thanks to Oprah and so many years and social media, now it's become more of a thing for parents to look at how are they connected? Are they regulated? Are they kind and whole to themselves? Are they radically accepting of themselves? If you don't radically accept yourself, there is no way your child will grow up with radical self-acceptance. So it really starts with this inner work of the parent.
It makes sense that it would make people uncomfortable because they're sort of like, okay, give me tools. Tell me when to do a timeout. Tell me all these like tangible things that I can do. And you're going, what's your relationship with yourself? Right? That's where it starts. So, I come from a bit of a unique perspective on parenting because it was really, really, really hard for me to become a parent. It took like several years. It was really challenging. I've had a lot of time to think about it. I'm now 43 years old with a 1-year-old. So I've I've read all the articles and I've just like had too much time on my hands. So I'm coming at it from this like deep appreciation. And so I don't want to come at it from like such an idealistic place, but I have in our mother's generation, everyone's like, you look perfect all the time. You pretend like things are perfect. And that happens on social media now. But I think a blessing and a curse is that there's a lot of moms talking about how hard it is, which is fantastic because now we feel seen and heard. But I do feel like there's this sort of negative narrative that I can't connect with, that is like, parenting is such a nightmare. It is such an obligation. It's like, I have
Well,
to fucking
Erin,
be with the
no
kids,
one
or I
connects with
have
that. That's so
no,
cringe when
that's
when
not
parent.
no, that's not true. A lot of people do. It is a very like popular thing in with my friends, with people on Instagram, with like people. It's just a very like exhausting thing to have to do. And listen, I just spent a weekend alone with my 1-year-old, the two of us, and we were sick. Nobody really wanted to see us. So it was just the two of us. And a lot of shit happened. She pulled my coffee off the counter. It went everywhere. She went through the drawers, everything. It was chaos. But I was so happy to be with her in the chaos. And I know there will be times that I will get to the end of my rope. And I'm not saying that I haven't been there. But I just feel like it's not like we've gone too far the other way, where it's like you have to talk about how awful it is all the time. And I don't like that experience.
No.
Yeah, it's such a minefield if you don't like where you are, right? So if you're not finding the joy and the beauty in the madness, in the chaos, listen, every one of us in some way signed up for becoming a parent. Whether
Yeah.
we did, we can now say, oh, I had no idea my partner would be such a horrible co-parent. It doesn't matter. You have to own your decision. I have so many mothers coming to me upset that their partners are not the father they thought they should have been. And I tell them, but you owned your part. So now it's on you. It doesn't matter how the grandmother is, or how the in-laws are, or how the partner is, or the father is. It's you. And you have to embrace what you've signed up for and see the glory. Yes, it's madness. Yes, it's chaotic. They're feral and wild and often ungrateful. And often it's thankless. But you didn't sign up for those things. You signed up because something called you to it. And you have to own that calling and see this as the most amazing learning experience of your life. And I always say that your children are your awakeners. So what can you learn from this? And if you don't really, enter this journey and live in it with utmost curiosity and humor and self-effacement and a lot of self-deprecation with compassion, you won't survive this. So you don't have to love it every day, and you don't have to hate it every day. You just have to just radically accept that this is your teacher right now, and awaken from it and heal from it. I mean, that's the most profound thing I think about children, is that nobody else is closer to the unconditioned self as our children. So they are going to be a mirror to show you all the ways that you were once unconditioned, where you were, quote unquote, the pure self, the authentic self. And young children can take you back to that unconditioned self. What an amazing experience. So experience it, and learn from it and heal from it and liberate yourself from it, because children are that source energy that is pure until we fuck them up, right? So they allow you to return back home to what you once had, but you left on the sidewalks of your childhood, right?
Also, no one's forcing anyone to fucking have kids. Don't have kids.
Exactly.
No one's forcing you to do it. If I sat around and listened to a bunch of women talking about how awful being
Some people in the country actually are forced into having kids.
Oh my God. Well, that's
it's true.
No. Yeah.
No, but it's true. I mean, listen, if we're saying it, I mean, it is true. Were you done, Sarah? I had a question. I didn't want to interrupt you.
Yeah. Just to tie that up, though, that some women are oppressed. So it's not about not having compassion for their experience. However, whatever experience we have co-created in some aspect. And we have to own that part of the co-creation. And we have to make a choice to enter joy, because otherwise, we're just going to be, the experience is already here. So now we have a choice to either enter joy with it or be miserable for the rest of our lives.
Also, you have to be conscious when it comes to how many children you have. For instance, I have 2 children. Okay. I could have had a lot more, but I knew my bandwidth is 2. I know that I get triggered easily. I know that I have a short fuse. I know the kind of parent that I am. I know that what things cost to have this and that and the braces and the private school. Like, I made a conscious decision I am only going to have 2 kids. And because ultimately, if I had more, I think that would not have been good for our home. It would have been good for their siblings. Probably, yes, down the line in 20 years when they're adults and they have each other, that's amazing. But these years, I really just knew my bandwidth. And I think so many people don't factor that in always. And they end up putting themselves in a position where it's too much to handle. And just people are not conscious. This isn't a joke. Like, this isn't just like a dress rehearsal or something fun to do. Like, let's just have a bunch of kids. It's like, I wish people were more thoughtful when it came to that decision. What do you guys think about that?
And many parents kind of follow the cultural matrix to overschedule their children's lives, overexpose them to things, and then the parents burn themselves out. You know, we don't live in tribes. We don't live in communities. So it's a lot of pressure. So it's no wonder that many women on whom all the burden falls feel suffocated and resentful because they are living cut off from their own vitality, but they're also probably doing too much. And children, when they're very young, between the ages of 0 and 10, don't need all this fanfare and entertainment. They really don't.
What do you think about the overscheduling? What do you think about the 7 days a week activities, top to bottom, no free time?
I think it's insane. I mean, in my book, The Awakened Family, I speak of an incident where I took my daughter at 8 years old for her first structured dance class. And I was so excited. I was growing up. I'm an adult. I'm taking my daughter for an adult, like a thing. And the receptionist said, "Oh, very good. We shall put her in on Tuesday evening with the 3-year-olds." Okay. And I was like, no, ma'am, you don't understand. My daughter's 8. And she looked at me and she said, "No, sweetheart, you don't understand. Your daughter's a beginner. The beginners are the 3-year-olds. By 8, they are like performing at Carnegie Hall, right?" And I was like, wow, who got the memo? Like, how come I missed this whole thing? So apparently everyone had been in training and I have been like playing, my daughter's playing with the kitchen utensils. And my poor daughter couldn't really get into any group activities. She did horse riding and tennis because they were solo, because we missed the boat on so many things. But this is the insanity of this modern Western culture. And the Western meaning the whole world now, because we're all Westernized. It is a race to nowhere. It's a ladder to a mountain that never ends. And it is not even necessary. It is completely coming from the parent trying to fill out a resume called, "Look, I'm such a wonderful parent," and win the title of like some trophy that is for their own ego. Children don't need activities every single day. Yes, they need movement, they need nature, they need community, they need laughter and play, but they don't need structured activities.
That's what they need. They need their friends, right?
They need their friends. Yeah.
They need their friends. They need to learn how to communicate. They need to learn. Now, I do think there are some kids, like my 9-year-old, it's all her. She asks for tennis 6 days a week.
Right.
So that is the difference. I did not push her into any of this. Like, this is her. When I tell her to take a day off, you have a day off, she is like, no, it's like she wants it so bad. But that's kind of like an outlier.
But on the weekends, you let her chill.
I'll let her chill whenever she wants to chill.
On the weekends, you let her chill, yeah.
Yes, I'm letting her drive this boat. For me, I'm like, I really want to make sure that we still prioritize like play dates with her friends, because at the end of the day, if you cannot exist in a healthy relationship with your girlfriends, your things are not going to be good for you. Like, I want you to be a good friend. I want you to know how to be a people person. I want you to be a good communicator.
Yeah, I'm like really triggered by the overscheduling. And like when I talk to my friends and it's like, oh, this weekend we're up at 5 a.m. because we have the tournament here and then we go to this. I'm just like, God, your life is taken over by this, you know? I mean,
but
on the weekends, again, I only have, no, but that's what we're talking about. I mean, it's a lot.
Right. And you don't have to buy into it, and you don't have to sign them up for every class, and you don't have to do the pre-SAT prep in 4th grade. So we have to be mindful of what the matrix is throwing at us. And it's really a lot of money being spent, a lot of things being commodified, commercialized, marketed to us. And the parent is a pawn, right? Because it's the parenting industrial complex. The market understands who is a greater vulnerable prey than an insecure parent who wants to fit in and does it through their children. And so that parent will spend all the money in the world on getting their kid to an Ivy League school, because that's the ego of the parent, and the market knows that. So we have to resist that. We have to be so connected and whole within that we don't need our children to fall for this, what the market says, what the matrix says. But it takes a very, very confident parent to teach their children that they don't need to do what their friends do. They don't need to follow the herd, and they can live a different life.
Yes,
Don't you
I
think
am
it's
so
shifting,
about that
though,
life.
you guys? Like the obsession with, of course, you're going to have the parents that are obsessed with their kids getting into Ivy League and the schedule and the chess club and the this club and the that club and the whatever, fulfilling, as you said, something that is missing in them. And then maybe sometimes it's not. Okay, we can't fully generalize, but like, don't you think, like, when I'm at, universities and meeting young people, I always sort of gravitate, even in business, to not the person that has, the 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 more extracurricular activities, or even necessarily the college they went to. I really gravitate towards a person's energy and a feeling that they give me when standing and just looking them in the eye and talking to them. When we're looking to hire people, we're not like, okay, well, we want the person that,
Went to Princeton.
And spent 7 days a week from, age 6 to 17 overscheduled. It's not like, I don't want that person in my office. Like, I feel like that's just not, don't you think it's shifting?
Also, those people sound like they're going to be really manic when they get older. And I don't like that energy. I like someone who can chill. You need someone who's willing to just chill, sit on the couch and talk and not need to move all the time. And also can be a motivated person. But it's just, anyway, we're talking about the subject too much.
Everywhere I go, everybody is talking about how good the brand Needed is for all of your prenatal and postnatal and really just your overall health needs. My doula and my midwife both work with Needed and love it. Some of the people that I know who give me all the guides on the cleanest products to be, taking, they all love Needed. They have a comprehensive prenatal multi that is so good. It's made with bioavailable nutrient forms. It's paired with sustainably sourced omega-3s, which is so important for us to be taking. These are two essential products. So basically the prenatal multi and the omega-3, which is a DHA plus EPA. They're designed to meet the mom and the baby's optimal micronutrient needs. So it's really important to take those together. Everything that Needed makes is so good. By the way, I'm not pregnant, I'm not nursing, and I just bought their calcium because I need calcium in my diet because I have bone issues, and I was told that the Needed one is the best one to take. So up to 95% of moms are not meeting their omega-3 needs, and it's so important for fetal development, hormonal and mood balance, postpartum recovery, healthy breast milk, inflammatory response. It's just really important. So Needed is trusted by everybody. They're recommended by over 6,000 practitioners, and I just love everything they do. So top to bottom, all of their products you can trust. So head to thisisneeded.com and use the code Foster for 20% off your first order. That's THISISNEEDED.com and use the code Foster for 20% off your first order.
Okay, I'm going to give you guys a list of problems, and then you can tell me if you have them. Well, you can't tell me because we're not communicating, but do you have wrinkles and fine lines? I do. Do you have a sore jaw? I don't. Do you have eczema? I have. Do you have migraines? Yes. Acne? Yes. Scar tissue? Yes. Wound healing? Yes. Do you need to relax? Yes. Okay. So the Bond Charge red light face mask is going to help you with all of that. Oh, also, if you have like an ingrown hair, men who are listening, you more get ingrown hairs on your face. This is great for that too. Basically, the Bond Charge red light face mask, I'm using it now multiple times a week. I'm using it because it forces me to meditate, which I'm not a big meditator, but it forces me to just take the time, relax, lay down for 15, 20 minutes. A lot of the time I will fall asleep. It's just kind of the check-in that I need while also for vanity purposes, making me look better. This is great if you don't want to rest, but you are doing housework, you're making phone calls, you're doing work. It's a very comfortable mask. A lot of them are not that comfortable. They slip off. This one is perfect. I also love they have a sleeping bag, like a red light sleeping bag that I got for Valentina to help her with her autoimmune situation, and she's loving it. This company just does it right. Red light therapy, it is proven. The science is there. Everyone's talking about it. Everyone's doing it. Okay, so it's both near infrared and red light. It is going to boost collagen and elastin production. I said it before, it's lightweight. We just love this company. We love this mask. It's also a great gift. So I'm going to give you guys a code. You're going to go to bondcharge.com and you're going to use the coupon code FOSTER to save 15%. That's a great deal, by the way. That is BONCHARGE.com and use the coupon code FOSTER to save 15%.
I really want to ask you about gentle parenting because it's become a very buzzy concept. I'm at that stage right now where my daughter is 15 and a half months. So she is like just starting this like cause and effect thing, She likes to look me right in the eye while she reaches for the thing she's not supposed to, And I don't know what my approach is going to be, but I do know that when I look at her and I say stop, she really does put her hand down. You know what I mean? When she's climbing up on something dangerous, like I do know that's the way to get her attention.
Wait, Erin, doesn't every book say you're not supposed to say stop? Or maybe
I'm just telling you it's the only thing that gets her to actually not climb up on the table. Like she hears it, she knows what it means, and she retreats. And so I use it, I want to understand from you because I watched a video recently on Instagram that made me laugh, and it was like a montage of parents gentle parenting and then screaming at their kids. And I'm not a fan of screaming.
Right.
I'm sure you've seen these videos where they're like, don't put your finger on that. I would really appreciate if you don't put your fucking finger on it. And then it finally stops. And it's like a montage of the kids only listening to their parent, basically like snapping at them. And I don't know if that's healthy too, What's your take on it all?
Well, gentle parenting is, strategies to change something in the child. They will never work because you can't have strategies to fix a child. And parenting is not about, what strategy can I use now? And it'll never work and it'll drive you crazy. For example, all those, those charts we used to use and those, it's just a load of bullshit. They work for a minute or two. That's why I never talk about, say stop or say something. It doesn't matter. It's about the parent being in the present moment. If you have to say stop, you say stop. If you have to talk, and explain something, you'll do it. It's about being present to what is required in the moment. And that is infinitely harder than using a strategy. So gentle parenting, of course, we want to be kind and compassionate, but sometimes we can't. Sometimes we're in a hurry. Sometimes we're like, can everybody just get the freaking down here now? And it's okay to be a human. It's okay to be authentic and be a human. I don't trip on the words and I don't trip on the languaging and because that is inauthentic. You can't wear a mask 24/7 around your children. You have to be you, What's more important?
That's such a good point. Your kid is going to respond to you being like, I asked you a few times. It's like, just be yourself, lady. Just be normal.
Just be normal and stop using your kids to make you feel good about yourself, right? So the other day I was on this cruise watching, we were all confined, so I was forced to watch everybody around me. And this mother-child, she was talking to this child nonstop because I'm telling you, she was using gentle parenting, right? As a strategy, right? Not as an authentic flow. And she was talking to the child like da 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 da. I was like, my God, this child must be wanting to throw this mother overboard, right? Like she was but I could tell the mother was disconnected. She was not. Yeah. She was just talking for the sake of listening to herself, right? Yeah. So that's why conscious parenting is the key. It's because you have to ask. In conscious parenting, you ask tough questions like this. Like, am I using my child right now to just be entertained for myself? Or am I using my child just so I can be a martyr? Really tough questions like, how am I using my child right now to fulfill my idea of myself? And using my child to fill out my resume, or using my child to look good on Facebook, or just shut the F up. Like, the child doesn't need so much talking. The child doesn't need so many activities. Presence comes from wholeness. And we need presence in our lives. And those are the friends we feel connected to, the ones who are in their body, not anxious, regulated, and not needing something from us, right? So our children also feel our energy. If you're a mother who constantly needs to talk to their child, the child is going to feel used, and realize, oh my God, my mother needs me. That is the worst feeling for a child to have, that my mother needs me for something, to feel good about herself, to fulfill the legacy of her family, for whatever the hell, right? Our children should never feel like we need them for anything, really.
I've been saying this so much, because there have been changes in my household and with me and the girl's dad. And I feel like a broken record, but I keep saying to them, you guys, my feelings are not your responsibility. And that doesn't mean you can disrespect me. And that doesn't mean don't care about me. And that doesn't mean all those things. But I say to them all the time, my feelings are not your responsibility, and neither are your dad's. We are adults. It is our job to worry about your feelings. It is not, and I didn't read that. I just made that up myself, but it's felt really right because
Sarah, write a book.
Yeah, I know. Okay. I want to ask you about, that really famous photograph that is of a subway in New York. Don't know what year it was. And you see different people riding the subway. Most people are looking on their phones, and there's a family of 4. It's a dad and 3 kids, and they're on the train and they're all reading.
Mm.
And I want to ask, how much of our children are mirroring us? Can you ask your child to be a reader and to put their phone down when all they do is see you on your phone and they've never seen you read a day in your life? Can we just get into that a little bit?
Yeah. So no, it's going to be, even if you were the best reader, it's going to be hard for your child to be a reader. So if you're not a reader and you are on your phone, you're certainly not going to be able to ask your child to do something that you yourself cannot do. So your child will only listen and follow and mirror you to the extent to which you are living that reality in an authentic way. And sooner or later, if it's just a veneer and you're faking it, like every time your child walks into the room, you turn the Real Housewives to CNN, right? If your child will pick up on this eventually, because it's about your presence. It's about your connection. And disconnection will breed disconnection. See, the fundamental foundation for a strong parent-child relationship, for a child's sense of worth, is the parent's presence when they are with the child. And when you put your phone down and you're capable of giving them the attention and the focus and simply being with them, their nervous system regulates. So they don't need to be on a phone to be distracted, because you are teaching them to be tuned in and grounded. So who is the child who eventually will grow up to be the adult who needs the dopamine hit constantly? Is the child who needs that distraction from their anxiety, right? So that's why anxiety management is really the key. And that comes about through a presence-filled, deeply connected relationship we have with our children. And that means our nervous system needs to be really attuned and present and in the here and now and simple and really calm and quiet. But if the parent is insanely busy and filling their every moment with people, things, and places, then the child is never going to absorb that model of regulation.
That
is such a good point.
What are tips to helping our kids with anxiety besides being present? Obviously that's the main one, but I think I listen to these girls talk all the time. Half them are on, medication, which I'm sure some of them really need it, but I'm sure some of them really don't. I'm not asking you to, go there, but What are other ways that we can help our kids with anxiety?
Well, the first thing about anxiety is that if you try to eradicate it or fix it, it'll become bigger. So we can't be anxious about anxiety. Now that what I'm trying to say is the reason anxiety
Accepting
exists. Because the reason anxiety exists in the first place is because there's a lack of acceptance of whatever. See, anxiety exists because, so say our plane is delayed. It's just the isness of reality. Our resistance to the plane being delayed creates anxiety. So now, if your child is anxious and now you resist them being anxious, you're going to increase the anxiety. So this is how anxiety snowballs, because we're all just in resistance. If we all just chilled out and just accepted reality as it showed up, there'd be nothing to be anxious about. Meaning, yeah, it's delayed. Yes, I have 10 pimples. Yes, I have cellulite, right? Acceptance of the isness of life immediately calms us down. Resistance to the isness of life escalates anxiety. So now if your child has anxiety and now you're anxious about the anxiety, their anxiety is going to go up, because they're going to be like, oh, I have to be anxious about how I'm feeling? Okay, I'm going to be really anxious then about how I'm feeling. So the first thing is that we teach our children, okay, so you're anxious. Okay, so your heart is racing fast. Let's just accept it. Let's feel it. Let's connect to it. Where is it racing? Right? So when your child sees you not being anxious about something they're anxious about, that automatically de-escalates the situation, right? So if they come to you and go, oh my God, I got an F grade. But you've already worked out this whole thing around grades, and you've made peace with your child being ordinary and maybe not that smart, and you're okay with average, because you don't need your child to be a superstar. You don't need anyone to be a superstar. You don't need to be a superstar because you're whole from within. So now your child comes to you with the F grade. You're like, okay, so you got an F grade. Okay, we have lots of choices. We can, get a tutor. We can try harder. But we don't have to panic. And it's okay if you always get an F grade, even after trying, because maybe that's just not your thing. So it's okay. Every parent comes to me saying, but shouldn't I be telling my child that they can be anything they want to be? And I said, but that's not true. They cannot be anything they may want to be. Look at American Idol. Can everybody be a singer? No. And don't you wonder why didn't their parents tell them, no, you cannot be a singer? No, you cannot, right?
That's where you get these people.
Our dad told us, you guys are not singers. You can't,
Yes.
you can't do it. He told us early, he goes, you guys don't have the talent. We were like,
Yes.
oh shit. Okay.
Yeah, not everyone is a mathematician. Not everyone is, a history buff. It's okay to accept our limitations. It's like a dirty thing. Oh, no, we can have no limitations. And I go, no, but that's not the isness. If you're short, you're short. You cannot be a basketball player. Likely you will not be one. If you're
someone
brown,
giving you false hope
Yeah.
about something is probably, I've told this before, but I'll just tell you quickly that, our dad is a musician, a very successful, talented musician, piano player. He came to see my first piano recital when I was in 5th grade. And I didn't like piano. I was like, I'm not good at this. I don't really like it, but I feel like maybe there's something in my blood that's just going to come through my fingers and I'll just like be musical. And he went to my first recital and he came up to me afterwards and he said, yeah, you don't have it, so you can quit. And I honestly felt freed by it. He said, go do something that you care about. You clearly don't care about this. You're not putting your all into it. It's not your thing. So go find your thing. And people are always like, that's such a mean story. And I go, no, he released me from any pressure that I had to be a musical savant because he was a musical savant. He had no expectation for me to be that. He was like, do the thing that you enjoy. I don't care what it is.
But see, because he was so tapped into what gives him joy, he knows that these things cannot be forced, you see? And that's a parent who will never trap their child because they are so in touch with their own creative flow. They know that these things cannot be forced. When I loved playing the piano when I was young. I wanted a piano all my life. Of course, I didn't have one. I was in India. We weren't that well off. The minute I became a parent, boom, I bought a baby grand piano. And I was like, my daughter's going to play the piano because I never could. But I also knew that there's no way you can force it. So when I saw her not being able to do it, I realized that it's not her thing. Same with math or same with art. If it's not your thing, it's okay, But here we have this this delusion of grandeur that everything should be our thing, right? My child needs to be well-rounded. No, nobody is well-rounded. Djokovic is Djokovic because he's not well-rounded. He's just a freaking insanely obsessive tennis player. He's not trying to be a cook. He's not trying to be a charity Mother Teresa. He's not trying to, do everything in the world. He's just obsessively good at what he wants to be good at. And that's the beauty of life. Like when you just accept your limitations and allow for your strengths and have no shame about it, that's the gift we can give our children. But we can only give our children that gift when we've experienced that within ourselves.
I love that.
I love that too. When you have multiple children and you find yourself parenting them different. My older daughter gives me hell. She triggers me. I yell at her all the time because she just pushes my buttons. I have a 9-year-old who's a little angel. She was dropped from the heavens. I love them both equally. I would jump in front of a bus for both of them. I'm obsessed with both of them. But I parent them differently because my 9-year-old is just an easier kid to parent. But then I the thing that wakes me up at 2 a.m, I'm like, oh my God, this is unhealthy. This is horrible. I mean, it's not like that big of a difference, but like Erin, it's a difference, wouldn't you say?
I would say that you're right. The challenges are really different between the two kids. And my concern with your older daughter is when we talk to other experts we've had on here who talk about like, when you grow up in a family and you're sort of labeled as this person, you then tell yourself that you're that person. And I worry about reinstating over and over again to her daughter, like, you're difficult, you're tough, you're difficult, you're tough, because I want her to be able to grow out of that and not define herself as like, I'm a nightmare,
Yeah. And that's
but
actually,
the greater challenge is for the easy one to be labeled the easy one, because that's a burden to carry.
That is so smart.
Because
you know what? You just start telling Josie that she is difficult.
I got to stop telling her that she was dropped from the heavens.
But here's the thing.
It's a lot of pressure. You're right.
But I promise you, here's the thing. They're not difficult or easy. They both are adapting to you, right? Because the firstborns, I have a daughter too, they are put on earth to show us our jagged edges. And the second one, watching the older one and you getting into conflict, she's like, hell no, I'm not getting into this arena. So she's cut off her jagged edges. She's rounded them off. She's polished them because she's watching the two of you. So she's not easy because that's who she is. She came into an environment where she learned quickly. You'll often find the second ones easy and easier as the children go down the line. The first one you see.
I'm the second one. I was easier.
Yeah, it's just nature. It's just the way it's survival, right? So it's not necessarily true that they are only easy. They've just really polished their edges really fast. I did that watching my older brother get into trouble. I'm like, hell no, I'm not doing that. So your older one is the awakener. The older one is your wake-up call. The older one is your greatest teacher, because she's trying to stay on to her authentic self, and it's pissing you off, right? Pissing your ego off. And she's here to teach your ego, because the younger one is not going to teach your ego shit. She's just adulating you. Who needs that, right? The older one is the one that's going to check your ego. And
what
she's your
pisses
greatest
me off
teacher.
more than anything is that she's exactly fucking like me, my older one. And
Exactly.
everything that she does that drives me insane, I did when I was her age. And I'm like, what is this nature versus nurture shit? Like, she wasn't, how did she know I did that? How did she know I did that when I was, how did she, like, was she spying on me? Like, how did she know I said that exact thing and did that exact thing? I'm the totally different person.
But here's the thing, my love. If she's rubbing you the wrong way, she's here to show you that there's a part of you that she's mirroring that you don't accept in you. It's the part in you that you don't want to see again. So every time you see that part of you reflected in her, you're rejecting that part, because there's a part that's rejecting you still.
Okay, so what do I do?
You have to ask yourself,
you got to see
why the
Dr.
hell-
Shefali. You guys got to work together.
to
This is
me.
crazy.
You come to me.
Okay, so what does she do?
Yeah,
No,
what
I don't mean don't do this now. I just meant like this is a good match.
Yeah, obviously I clearly need, much deeper, longer sessions with you, but what do I do What does our
Well,
audience
she's
do?
whole.
Something,
Well,
yeah.
Yeah, what does our quote unquote audience do?
yeah, when we are constantly being rubbed by a child the wrong way, right? Like when they're constantly like getting just getting us, and before we know it, they're pissing us off. Our jaw is clenched. We're frothing at the mouth. This child is driving us crazy. It's not easy flow. You're like, what have I done?
You're like spitting because
Yeah, like spitting. Yes.
yeah.
They
Like
just they're just rubbing you the wrong. I promise you, it is a part of you that is being mirrored in them that you rejected in you a long time ago. And so for example, if she's loud and boisterous and in your face, and you're like, oh, why is she doing that? Because it's a part of you that you tamed a long time ago because you were told that was not okay. And now when you see it show up in your kid, you're like, oh, I don't like that. I don't like that. And you're trying to tame her and she's not tameable. And you're like, damn it, I was tameable. Why is she not tameable? And this is the dialogue that happens in our minds. And that's why your child is here to show you the part in you that you reject in yourself. 100%.
we spend so much time talking about skincare, talking about all the things to do to our face, but we never talk about the water, which is such a crucial part of all of it. Everything changed with my hair. And honestly, I do think with my skin, when I put a filter on my shower head, the reality is clean water is the first step in an effective beauty routine. And it's a step that honestly we all overlook. So, Jolie is a beauty wellness company that purifies the water we shower in for better skin, hair, and overall well being. So, it's a filter shower head. It is a best in class. It's going to remove chlorine, heavy metals. It's the only lab tested and clinically trialed filtered shower head on the market. It is clinically proven to reduce hair shedding in 81% of people. It's lab tested to reduce hair frizziness by 40% of people. It's lab tested to maintain color retention. It's lab tested to protect the hair's surface layer. I mean, I could keep going on, but I think you get it. I mean, we do think about all the ways that we need to have purified water, but it's like our shower is kind of something we overlook, and it's really not because hopefully it's something you're doing every day. Jolie is going to give you your best skin and hair guaranteed. Head to jolieskinco.com/foster to try it out for yourself with free shipping. If you do not like it, you can return it for a full refund within 60 days, no questions asked. You guys, 60 days? That's a long time. It's not always that you discover products through your children, but this one was through my children. So my younger daughter went on a play date and she came home and she was like, Mom, 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 did so-and-so's mom, did she text you? Did she text you what I had for my snack? And I said, no, she did not. I was like, what did you have? She's like, I had a yogurt and her mom put in this granola and blah, blah, blah. And it was so good. It was so good. I want to eat it. So of course I'm like, okay, what is this? Cut to, I find out it's the Purely Elizabeth granola. The Purely Elizabeth granola has superfood ingredients. This is very important. You're not going to find that in a lot of granolas, unfortunately. But there's something about this one that the taste is so good, you guys. So it's now Josie's go-to breakfast. She does whole milk yogurt. I cut up strawberries really finely. I'll put the granola in. And then occasionally, if it's a weekend, I'll sprinkle chocolate chips on top. And she's like, I'd rather have this than ice cream. I would rather have this than any dessert. I love that the Purely Elizabeth products, they are made with ancient grains, superfood seeds, no artificial flavors. This is really important, you guys. Unfortunately, a lot of the granolas have all that stuff. This one does not. All of their products are certified gluten-free. They have plenty of non-GMO, vegan, and keto-friendly options. There's tons of different flavors. We love the classic. We just love the classic. But they also have chocolate sea salt, blueberry hemp, vanilla almond butter, and as I said, the original ancient grain is just, it's so good. I honestly would love for you to hear what it sounds like, the crunch, when I'm eating it. I really would, because I need you to hear it because it's like ASMR. but I'm really sick and tired of all the comments that you guys make yelling at us when we are trying to take a little nibble of something because we are hungry. So I'm not going to do it. All right, you guys, visit purelyelizabeth.com and use the code FOSTER at checkout for 20% off. Purely Elizabeth, taste the obsession. Here's the good news. She talks to me. She tells me everything. And Erin, you can vouch for that. She tells me everything. We have such amazing communication with each other. She trusts me. And I think we got a lot of questions from people saying, how can I get my kids to feel safe talking? How can I get my kids to talk to me? I think that's the number one thing parents want to know.
And you know why? Because no matter how much she triggers you, there's a raw authenticity about you that allows people to feel safe because you're not afraid to call your bullshit.
No.
And children have a radar with it. You can watch, I did a podcast with my 22-year-old who ripped me, like she tore me apart. You can watch it. It's on my podcast. And she felt so safe.
I would love to. And you're a parenting expert. Wasn't that like, oh God, I don't know if people can see this.
I know, but that's the whole point of conscious parenting is to allow your child to rip you, like just say what they feel and respectfully and authentically. And she mentioned all the ways I piss her off and trigger her. But that is the point of this, that your child is with enough inner authority to speak for their own truth, and your ego doesn't feel challenged, and you learn from it, adult to adult. And yes, I felt a little nervous putting it out there because people think conscious parenting is all about agreement and enmeshment and oneness. And I believe it's about standing in your truth, however difficult and varied and chaotic that may feel.
So do you have any tips for parents just in little ways to help sort of facilitate, I don't know, starting better communication with their kids, feeling like they're...
Yes.
It's interesting. A lot of people ask this question.
I think the key is you have to allow your child to fuck up and be limited. And when a child feels accepted by you, now that doesn't mean you agree with them. You still say no and stop. But you accept them for who they are, and you're not constantly trying to contour them and curate them into an image of your fantasy. That child will feel safe. You will see it in their body, the way they sing in the shower and skip back home and come cuddle in your bed and talk to you and yell at you when they're upset with you. That child feels safe to be themselves. And if you can give your child that sense of inner security that you don't have to prove anything to me to be validated by me, you don't have to become anything for me to feel proud of you. You are good just the way you are. That child will eternally come home to you.
What do you think about punishment, about punishing? Like, I'm a big punisher. I'm a big, like, if you don't do this, I'm taking your phone. Or if you don't do, or if you blah, 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 you can't order frozen yogurt tonight. I'm a big...
The problem is too, is that you don't always follow through. So sometimes she says it, and her 14-year-old's like,
yeah, you're not
cool,
really
Mom.
a
Yeah,
punisher.
you really are.
Yeah, you're not really a punisher. You're an overreactor and you threaten. You're a threatener, right?
Yes, I'm a threatener.
Because in that moment, you don't have any other tools. So you're I'm going to get my power back and I'm going to use my power as the queen of this.
It's all I have. I'll take your phone.
I'll take your yogurt away.
But the best thing to watch, Dr. Shefali, the best thing to watch is Sarah's like, God damn it, Valentina, you do that one more time. I swear to God, you're not going over your friend's house. And she's like, okay, Mom. Yeah, right. And then Sarah goes, oh, whatever. And then walks away. And then I'm like,
you're just
you didn't even do it.
You didn't even do it, and your kids will figure it out. It doesn't even matter. They're not taking you seriously. I remember when my daughter was around 9, she told her friend in front of my face, oh, just watch. I'll just ask 5 more times and she's going to say yes. And that was my track record. I could hold it for like 4 or 5 times, and I was just, who was I kidding? I was going to say yes. So we can threaten, and our children will know very soon. But it's really because in that moment, you're like a little tantruming 3-year-old. You're like, I'm going to take my power back, and I'm going to show you who's the boss.
And I'm desperate. I have nothing else. It feels like she won't, as long as all I have is the phone. Yeah, I don't spank. We grew up getting spanked. I don't do anything like that. But all I feel like I have is I'll take your phone, and that for her is that's her friends, that's
But
everything.
See, what's happening in the moment is you're so out of control, right? You're panicking. You're not realizing the power of your presence. So instead of threatening, and you're never going to keep up the threat anyway, what you need to do is enter your body, enter your queendom, take everything away from your child, kneel down in front of her, force her to look at you, and really get her attention and mean it. That is presence. That's entering your queen, right? But instead, we flip out, freak out, and enter our child self. And then actually our children disrespect us even more.
Oh my God. I can't wait for you to be Sarah's therapist.
So I'm getting on my knees and I'm saying what?
You need to create whatever the boundaries. So give me an example and I'll tell you. Give me an example.
Texting at dinner? I don't know.
I told her, we are not ordering any more Postmates. Like, I'm sorry, I spend a lot of money on groceries. We are not, ordering Postmates. And she has a green light allowance. So it comes up on my phone. And I made it very clear we are not ordering Postmates. And I get a light on my phone. She's ordered fucking Postmates on her green light app. So she says it's her money because it's her allowance money. And I went psychotic.
Okay, so instead of going psychotic, this is what you do. You want to create a boundary. And boundaries are never left up to the child or anyone. So you see, when you say we're not ordering Postmates, who is the we? She. You're giving her power. You need to say, you can order as many Postmates as you think you can, but the next time I see it, the app is going away. That's what you do. That's taking the power back.
I know, but I don't have the code to her phone. So how do I?
Okay, then you take the phone away.
She's literally you.
You're cute.
She's literally
You're so cute. You take the power back. It's your phone. Okay, I promise you, it's your phone.
Sarah's like, I'm
This
too
is
scared to
your
say
house.
that
No, but
to her.
I've done
I don't
this
think
before.
I can do
I
it.
took it before and I go, give me your code. She goes, no. And so what do I do?
No. Then you just take the phone.
I'll tell you who's in her queen energy.
Yeah,
her
she's
daughter.
in her queen
Her daughter's
energy.
being the queen.
Yes,
She's
yes.
in her queen energy.
So your
And you're just a
daughter
little
can-
popper on the side. You're just fanning her. You're just
Yeah.
fanning the queen.
Yeah. You're so cute. It's okay. This is something inside you. I think because you were probably disempowered as a child, you made a pledge to never disempower your girl, but now she's got too much power over you.
Oh my God. No, I gotta knock her down. She's too powerful.
But here's the thing, my
You
love.
gotta humble that girl a little bit.
See, here's the thing. You're afraid to take back the throne, but you're acting like a psycho. See, it's like
No, you guys, I am psycho. Like, I'm letting you all know that
I know, we all
I'm
are.
admitting it.
Yes,
I'm admitting it.
because you really are trying to empower your child, but then you're showing her the worst example of dysregulation. So let's lessen the empowerment. Let's share the throne and act less dysregulated, right? That will be much more beneficial to her. Let her not like you and let her not have the throne. That is much healthier than her seeing a dysregulated mother.
Well, you know what? She's
By
trying
the
to
way,
Alec
there's nothing
Baldwin.
scarier. There's nothing scarier than just a calm person going, okay, that was the last time. And unfortunately, the app is gone. Bye. Have a good night.
But then you get scared because then you think, oh my God, she's going to hate me. Then all that stuff comes up. And that's what we need to work on, because that's what's causing you to give in and capitulate to your child.
You want to know the worst part, you guys? She's trying to Alec Baldwin me. She records me when I don't know it, when I'm going like, Valentina, get your fucking ass down. She records me. So she's
Yes.
gonna
That's like
ultimately.
Britney
They are
Spears
so
kids did that.
smart. My daughter told me, she said, she used to be so snarky, my daughter, like this.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess you are the conscious parent right now. Oh, so they are so mean, and they know how to get us. They know how to get us.
Wow, Mom, really conscious of you
They're
just
really
now.
conscious. I should tell people what Dr. Shefali is doing right now. They're evil. They're evil.
Oh my God, this is. I mean, I just want to say, and Valentina doesn't listen to the podcast. She really is like such a good girl. She gets into no trouble. She's a good friend. She's kind. She's a really great girl. But just the mother-daughter relationship is
It's a nightmare. Yes,
complicated, as we know. That's how we all need to buy your
Guys,
Erin,
we're over.
Wait, but here's what I just want to say. I know, Erin, you have to run.
Let me know if I'm even here, Sarah.
No, but I
I
just
don't
wanted
have to run actually
say,
because I'm watching my child get put to sleep.
okay,
by
well
my
then,
husband.
Dr.
She's fine.
Shefali, are you cool if we ask you just like a few more audience questions, or
Yes,
do you have to
yes.
go? Just
No, I don't have to go. And I'm going to send you my other favorite book. I'm going to send you both these books, but this one you have to read. It's my best all-time book, A Radical Awakening.
wait, Radical
Great.
Awakening?
Yes, you will die. You will love it. I wrote it when I
I
was going
want,
through my divorce.
but by the way, Dr. Shefali, don't send it to us because we buy things, so we will buy your
We
book.
do.
Okay.
We do.
But I have to control the situation.
Okay, Erin, I'll allow you to ask a question.
I mean, first of all, my biggest question is, can you please be her therapist? I'll pay for it. I will fund the whole operation.
First of all, I have an
okay?
amazing therapist. His name, well, he's not a therapist. He's a life coach, but I think I should add you to the
No,
payroll.
you need, first of
Yeah.
all, Sarah, you need many therapists. And
I do.
this is going to be your therapist for parenting. Okay.
I do. Yeah. Or a friend. Let's be friends.
Yes.
Yeah, obviously
yes.
I would like to be friends with you as well. This is the thing that I think we all think about. I'm paralyzed. These are audience questions. I'm paralyzed by the fact that no matter what you do, your child will get trauma from you. Is therapy the answer? It's true.
But why are we traumatized that our children, it is just the nature and the cycle of life. So we don't have to be traumatized by it. What we
No,
need
I think
to
the
do,
question is that every person gets traumatized by their parent, right? Like, are we always traumatizing our kids? Like, how do we avoid that? Does everyone have to be in therapy?
and I think we have to look at ourselves, yes, but we also don't have to take it so seriously. Meaning, if your child is getting upset with you, like my daughter will give you a laundry list of things I've done that have hurt her interminably, and I tell her, and that's your journey, and you get to now heal yourself. And now this is the fertilizer. This is my gift to you. And now you become the next evolved self of me. And there's no such thing as perfection. What I'm trying to say is, this is the way it is. Yes, we should look at it. My whole work is about parents becoming conscious. But I don't want there to be an illusion that you can actually become so conscious that you will not pass down some shit. This is an illusion. This is the ego in play, thinking that we can be so perfect that there will be no trauma. No, you can become conscious, you can heal yourself, and your kid will still blame you for things. And that's okay. Like, there's no such thing as a destination called the perfect parent, the conscious parent. It's a journey, it's a calling, it's an invitation. And you keep answering the call and you keep progressing. And I tell all grown-up children, let go of this blame to your parents. Let it go. Like, your parents have retired. They're no longer your parents. Now you have to parent yourself. Because in our therapy culture, we keep blaming our parents and keep expecting things from them and feeling entitled that they should parent us. And they are in their 60s now. And I say, no, expiration, finish. After the age of 22, 25, 28, you have to parent yourself. They gave you this fertilizer, use it and alchemize it to your next destiny. You cannot keep asking them to fix you. Their time to have parented you is over.
That's deep.
That's a really, really good lesson. I really want you to work with Sarah. Really good lesson.
And now I'm so curious. Of course, I want to ask you about Hoffman, which is all about your parents. You're there as an adult, but the whole sort of thing is about your parents.
But it's your introjected parent. Is this the parent that now lives inside you?
But at Hoffman, Sarah, you know what the Hoffman Institute is?
Yes.
Is Dr. Shefali, right?
Yes.
So everyone I know who went there, they say you spend the first couple of days basically hating your parents, blaming them, and realizing that they did all these horrible things. But then you spend the last parts forgiving them and realizing that they also had parents who did that shit to them and letting it all go. So it's kind of like getting all your energy, knowing where to put it, and then letting all of it go, because you can't really blame your parents because they were doing their best. And by the way, I have to give our mom a lot of credit because she's done plant medicine later in life and she's done a lot of healing. I picked up the phone and called her like 3 years ago after I did an MDMA journey. And I was like, I got some shit that I need to talk to you about. I am pissed off that you did all these things. And that's why I chose all these guys. And that's why this. And like you said, she goes, I really did do that. Fuck. I was doing the best I could. And you are so right to be mad at me. And I wish I could have done better. And now you get to figure that out.
God, talk about diffusing
like,
a situation.
Oh.
Wow.
I
But she
know.
she
It's just
owned
so
it
great.
and she validated you. And we have to do that in real time with our children, right? So every conflict you have with your daughter, you get to repair in the moment, right? Just the other day, I told my daughter, yes, I got triggered. It was my ego. I'm sorry. Forgive me. So if you do it in the moment, it doesn't snowball into this huge, big cascade of, a domino effect. You do it
And
in
you're
the
teaching
moment.
them how to apologize,
I was
right?
just about
Like,
to
you go
say,
in the
I'm a
newsroom and you
big
go like,
believer. Yeah.
God, I'm sorry I freaked out. And then she'd be like, oh, I guess if the next time I freak out, I could go apologize.
I've been really conscious lately about apologizing for my bad behavior to my kids in an effort to kind of show them, like, it's okay. You're going to fuck up. You're going to mess up. And then you're going to be able to rectify it by owning it, apologizing for it, and moving on. I've been really consciously trying to do that lately. Okay. What is the one lesson you wished all new parents were sent home with? Or the one thing you would say to new parents as they're leaving the hospital? Like, here's that one.
That this journey, if you really embrace it, can awaken you to your greatest authenticity. And your children are your teachers. So be curious, lean in, stop trying to be perfect, stop trying to be on a pedestal. Allow them to teach you what they're here to teach you, and walk this journey together. And don't think you can lead them, don't think you can control them. All you can do is walk beside them.
Wow.
I'm obsessed with you. It's like almost pitch black in my office right now, but I'm so into you.
I feel that. Okay. Can we talk for a second about spoiling kids and what that actually does to them? I mean, I guess we kind of touched a little bit before on, I guess bubble wrapping our kids is a form of spoiling them. I don't know. What happens if you just give your kids too much?
Yeah, but we can give too much advice. We can give too much praise. We can give too much. It's all like out of context, right? So if your child comes home and, says my friend Stuart called me fat, dumb, and ugly, right? And now you're like, oh my God, you're so not fat. You are so skinny, right? You go crazy. Look at you. You are the most beautiful person on earth. And you start tripping, right? Versus you just say, oh, and Stuart has a right to think that.
Whoa.
Right? Do you
right.
think
So you're basically signaling
think...
like you shouldn't decide your worth based on what Stuart thinks.
Right. So we can spoil our children in many ways, is what I'm saying. We don't need to just spoil them with things. In fact, the things are the least important. The most important is the emotional stuff, right? We can spoil their emotional resilience by coddling them from life. Life has assholes at 5, at 7, at 17, at 50. Life has, teachers who are dumb as can be, people who are dumb, mean people, different people, except this is life. Yes, Stuart really is not a kind person, but that's his opinion of you. So now what are you going to do about it? Are you going to believe him? Are you going to try to please him? Or are you going to say, Stuart is not my person? Right? Teaching your child about life, like this is life. And let's just
and sitting with the discomfort of how it made her feel, right?
Yes. Letting your kids sit in the discomfort. I literally, I told you I'm going to make it this so fast, but Valentina, like a year ago, was like, this teacher made me uncomfortable. And she explained what the teacher did.
Yeah.
And I think most parents would like pick up the phone and call the school and blah, blah, blah. I didn't fucking do that. I said, yeah, Valentina, guess what? You're going to have a lot of weird fucking teachers.
Exactly.
You're going to have teachers that look at you the wrong way, that don't make you feel good, that might even say something you don't fucking like. And guess what? Figure it out. Like, just deal with that. I'm not going to go and make some big thing and sort of coddle this sort of behavior. Like, I don't love that, but like, so what? Like, deal with it. Someone said, and this is really, I think, happening with a lot of parents. My 13-year-old gets excluded often from hangouts with friends. What do I tell her? What do we tell our kids who are coming home feeling left out and excluded and feel alone?
It's really hard. So first we validate what they feel, right? We always start with where the child is and just being with them and sitting with them and go, it hurts. It really hurts. It sucks. Yes, I understand. First we do that. And then if we want to give them a lesson, we teach them that, again, in my life, I wasn't accepted always. I wasn't always the popular kid. I also had a hard time belonging. We give them context, right? And then we give them choices. Where else can you find your tribe? How can I help you find your tribe? But also ultimately teaching them that it's okay if they're alone a little bit, because they have you and they can come to you. And we do all of it all at once. There's no one answer that is going to help your kid. From the reason why children at that age find it so agonizing, it's because they're moving out of the duo, the enmeshment with their parent, into peer life. And they are basing their identity, especially girls, based on how their peers look at them, especially girls. And that's why social media is so toxic for girls, especially, is because they're being exposed to all these strangers who can be brutal with them, and they are forming their identity based on their peers. So we want to kind of fortify our children to understand that their identity can also be formed from their hobbies and their animals and their relationship with other people in the community. That's why they have to diversify their portfolio. The more children are just with one group of people only, the more doomed they will be, because they will identify only with that group. So we want them to have a diversity of groups that they can plug into. And that's why I often tell parents, the more community you have, the more community your children will have.
Wow. Okay. Well, this has been unbelievable.
I have
you are just like the
1,000
greatest.
more questions, but I'm just going to call you on your cell. And we'll just...
You can call me.
We're going to call her on her cell. We're going to be friends, and Sarah's going to pay for the friendship because you're going to be
no,
her
but you have
therapist.
to buy this book first, because this one is the real deal here.
Okay,
and
can you tell us the name of the one we're buying?
The Parenting Map.
The Parenting Map and Radical Awakening. Which one's the one that you were just saying to us, like, but you have to read this?
This one I wrote when I was going through my divorce. It's like the ultimate women's lib book. And this is the 20-step parenting book, that if you start doing what's here, your relationship with Valentina
Radical
will change.
Awakening for Sarah.
You guys, do you think that
me?
we should do another episode on kid? Like, I didn't really want to ask you because I feel like everyone's having this conversation, but kids and electronics and social media, that feels like maybe a separate episode, or is that tired?
I just think we could do a second episode where we just sort of like tackle the next page of questions.
Yeah.
And my next two books are actually about boys and girls in the digital era, because there's so much. And my next two books are launching in September next year on the digital era, because this is a whole new thing now.
Oh, in a year?
Mm-hmm.
We might need you back before. We might need you back before that.
Well, you're going to be seeing Sarah every Wednesday at 9 a.m. or whatever you guys decide, Oh, and by the way, you are our competitor. You have your own podcast.
Yes. So my podcast is called Parenting and You with me, Dr. Shefali. So it's all about the parenting, but also the parent themselves. And I have live cases. So it's like watching me do mini coaching sessions. I have live parents coming in. It's totally unscripted, uncensored, unedited. And I just do live coaching and teach parents conscious parenting in the moment. So you can just get your daily dose of,
I'm going to listen to the one with you and your daughter.
Yes, find it. Just so Dr. Shefali and her daughter.
I'm dying to go listen to that.
Oh my God, you're going to see how brutal she was.
I'm very excited for that.
You're really
awesome.
amazing. Yeah. I mean, your honesty around this is just, it's so needed. It's so important. You're not performative like so many other experts, and we don't have time for performative experts. So you're amazing.
I love it. You're adorable. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.